Hello viewers, my name is Sydney Winston. I'm an atheist activist out of Vancouver, Canada. Happy Friday. It's 11 o'clock at night. Oh my god. But I'm awake, so why shouldn't you be? Before we get going, I was watching some live streams earlier, and I think everybody's just lost the plot. So Smokey Saint had a live stream, and his live stream consisted of watching the live stream of Germania. And Germania's live stream was quite epic, actually. It was like the 1812 overture. It went from, bombastic and caustic to explosive with a crescendo, and then everybody started kissing and hugging each other. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my whole entire life. So Germania, I've got to give it to you. You captured a moment of history. War and Peace should be the title of that stream that you did today. However, until somebody comes in and talks to me, I just want to let you know that the room is open. You probably don't want to come in for a while, I guess, because I want to stream something. If you give me a chance, I will. But before I do anything at all, my favorite thing to do is to always go and say hello to the chatter. Cryptomaria is here, and God equals the square root of -1. Good evening. Good evening, Earthlings. The actual topic that we talk about depends on how we fare with the presentations that I am going to throw at your eyeballs. First one, do you know who Dan Barker is? Anyone? Dan Barker? Anyone? Well, I mean, he's going to probably tell you himself, but Dan Barker is an ex-pastor who realized that the whole God thing was nonsense. He became an atheist and left the pulpit preaching Christianity to creating an organization called the Clergy Project, which is for those members of the clergy who are trained in Christianity, realize that it's nonsense, realize that they're atheists, but because they're not trained for anything else, they really don't have anything to do. That's what the Clergy Project is around for. So any of you who are practicing clergy, want to get the fuck out because you know it's nonsense, it's all a big scam, the Clergy Project, I believe it's at .org, but just Google it. And yes, FFRF, another thing, Freedom from Religion Foundation. Dan Barker, I think, co-founded that, or was a big part of that. Um, Speaking of Dan Barker, funnily enough, he's about to give a speech. And it's at the Oxford Union from quite some time ago. And it's entitled God Does Not Exist, which essentially is true. But, who am I? Who am I to say whether God does not exist or does not exist? I'm Sidney Winston, and I say God does not exist. That's beside the point. Let's see what Dan Barker has to say. Okay, I'll see you on the other side.
I used to believe in God, like our very articulate and eloquent speaker before us. I used to believe firmly in God. I was an ordained minister. I preached the gospel for 19 years. I felt this presence in my mind as I prayed. I got goosebumps as I was in communion with what I thought was the Holy Spirit of God. As I read the Holy Bible and read about the resurrection of Jesus, I dedicated my life to preaching that gospel that I thought was so real, that gave so much meaning, so much hope, so much beauty to the world. But I've changed my mind. I now know I was deluded. I was having a very real, very powerful, but mental experience that happens in most religions. I won't tell you my whole story, but I went through a process of deconversion that took 4 or 5 years, starting as a firm believer, evangelical, street preacher. In the foreword to my book, Godless, that tells that story, Richard Dawkins writes, Dan Barker was not just a preacher, he's the kind of preacher you would not want to sit next to on a bus. That was me. I was so convinced. I was so in love with Jesus, my Savior and my Lord. But I went through a process, evangelical, fundamentalist, where I migrated into more of a moderate, where I preached less hell and more love, into more of a more liberal stage in my life, until eventually I dumped out all the bathwater and I found out there's no baby there. It's just words, it's just arguments. From the very articulate words we heard tonight, we didn't see any dots connected. We heard a lot of argument, but when it comes to evidence, only 2 pieces were offered, which we will probably get to: personal experience and the resurrection of Jesus. If nothing comes from nothing, then God cannot exist, because God is not nothing. If that premise is true, that nothing comes from nothing, and if God is something, then you've just shot yourself in the foot. Today is Thursday. What does that mean, Mr. President? Thursday. What does it mean? It's the day that millions of people believed in the god Thor. There was a gap in understanding. There was a mystery. What is that noise in the sky? What are those lights? What is all this? What is that? It must be an agency. It must be some being or something, and they named it Thor. And today we have a day of the week. We don't have a Jesus Day, but we do have a Thor's Day that millions of people believed in, and maybe some still do. But that deity has found itself on the scrap heap of history, just like when I looked at the deity I used to believe in, the God of the Bible. It started for me with the simple idea that Jesus told a parable about the prodigal son. A parable is what? It's a fiction. It doesn't matter if the prodigal son actually existed in history. It was the moral tale that mattered. The ancient Israelites made up a parable or a metaphor about Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden and a talking snake. Look up in the dictionary the word fable. You will find it as a moral tale involving talking animals. We know that Adam and Eve could not have existed because of evolution. I assume everyone in this room accepts the solid fact of the evolution of the human species. So Adam and Eve could not have been real people. It was a metaphor, and many Christians accept that fact. They know there's metaphor, figures of speech in the Bible. But in my process, if the prodigal son is a...
I got something to say about many Christians and Adam and Eve. Hold on a second. I would like to see in this community of Christians that have YouTube channels and that promote Christianity. How many Christians have you ever met on these YouTubes here that say that Adam and Eve didn't really happen? It's not really true. Every single one of you Christian people believe in the nonsense. And I'm not so sure that you do believe it, but you certainly preach it. And when you preach nonsense, you will get you will come into some opposition. You will meet a barrier of rationalism. You got no chance. Just hear Dan out. But I'd like to have one Christian come into any of my rooms and tell me that Adam and Eve, the story, is just a metaphor. It's got nothing to do with reality. Come and tell me that.
Fabrication. If Adam and Eve are a metaphor, then what about this other character, this Yahweh, this Jehovah, this Elohim character? Where do you draw the line? When we know that humans are very good at inventing myths, like the turtle in my Native American ancestry, the turtle that swam across the waters, brought up the mud from the bottom, created the continents. A beautiful story, a wonderful metaphor, but that didn't really happen. The God character himself is also one of those fictions I came to realize. Maybe a useful fiction, maybe it gave meaning, maybe it gave hope, maybe it gave purpose, a fiction nonetheless. The reason I am a non-believer today is because of the lack of evidence and argument for a deity. If there were any real evidence for a God, then by now someone should have won the Nobel Prize for pointing that out. Any scientist in the world would jump at the chance to say, here we go. I mean, if there is a hitherto unknown force of the cosmos that we haven't yet been able to determine, what scientist in the world would not love to make that point? That hasn't been done yet. All we have are what we would call, and I think many believers call, God of the gap. The thunder and lightning was a gap that is now closed. The perhaps fine-tuning of the initial constants, perhaps the origin of the Big Bang. We do have some gaps in science.
Well, hold on a minute, Dan. You know there's a gentleman named Jim Barber. He is known on the internets, on the YouTubes as Mr. Batman. Now, he loves science. He teaches children. He's a school teacher in somewhere in Kentucky or Indiana or somewhere like that. And he's a scientist. And so I don't know, man. These scientists, they know. They can prove their God through science. I mean, I have the video from Mr. Batman claiming that. I'll play it for you one day, Dan. In fact, one day I'll play it for you viewers out there who, just in case Dan doesn't make it, can watch it with me. Sorry.
In fact, it is those gaps that drive science. Without those gaps, we wouldn't have scientific inquiry. What we are offered with is faith and belief. And you were very eloquent in saying that you have a belief in a God, that what you believe is God. But belief is not knowledge. Belief is simply an assertion, according to the Bible, that you believers believe. Belief is the evidence of things not seen, the substance of things hoped for. Belief is not evidence. Anytime you have to accept an assertion by faith, you're admitting that that assertion cannot be accepted on its own merits. It doesn't have the strength to be accepted as any other, perhaps, scientific hypothesis would be taken. Do scientists gather together every Sunday morning in their scientific sanctuaries and bow their heads and sing, "Yes, the Higgs boson is real. I know in my heart the Higgs boson is real. I will have faith, I will be strong to this secular world who challenges my belief that the God particle is real. Amen." If they did such a thing, you would think they were pretty insecure on the concept, wouldn't you? That's what we find with faith, a constant puffing yourself up. Be strong, resist the world, believe in these absurdities in spite of the doubts. The resurrection of Jesus Christ, the story of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, is the absolute worst example anyone could possibly give for the reliability of the Bible. And I'm not exaggerating. Let me tell you why I'm not exaggerating. Many stories in the Bible are given once or twice. The resurrection story is given 5 times. You can compare them. Scholars have never been able to reconcile those contradictory accounts of the resurrection of Jesus. And besides that, and there are many of them, was the tomb open or closed when the women arrived? What message did the angels give? How many angels were at the tomb? And so on. Besides that, we see through the development in the first century of the Christian myth that the earliest stories were simple. There were no angels. There were very few remarkable events. But as you go 10, 20, 30 years later, you find more and more until you get to the book of John, where you find these outlandish stories. What you see in the development of the resurrection story in the New Testament is the development of a legend, starting simple, growing over time, getting more and more fantastic. It's a mistake to treat those accounts as if they were flat, as if they all happened at one time. We can see before our eyes the development from a simple, unvarnished, perhaps some element of truth in some story about someone who may have spiritually ascended, like we say grandma died and went to heaven. Maybe the early apostles said Jesus died and went to heaven, but that exaggerated. So the resurrection of Jesus Christ is not evidence for a God. And even then, it would just be evidence that a man rose from the dead. How do you connect the dots? We suffer also from a coherent definition of a God. We have a proposition, this house believes in God. What is that word? What does that word God mean? There are many, and I don't have time to go into much detail, but there are many incompatible properties that many theists assign to this deity, much like saying this deity is a married bachelor. Can a married bachelor exist? Logically, it cannot. And there are mutually incompatible characteristics of this deity that many theists have put forward that make it a married bachelor. For example, God is supposedly an omniscient being who has free will. But if you know the future, you can't have free will. I'm not talking about human free will, and that's a big debate whether we have it or not. Even atheists disagree among themselves. But God, presumably, this being is a personal being with free will who knows his own future decisions. In order to have free will, whatever that means, there has to be a period of indeterminacy during which you truly do have options. I could choose coffee or tea. I could choose this or that. But if you know your future options, you have no choice. You have no freedom. You are not a free personal agency. So if your definition of God is that God is omniscient and free, he cannot exist. He's a married bachelor. I know theologians try to tinker with definitions. By the way, if God cannot change what he knows he's going to do tomorrow at 12 noon, that also puts some limits on his omnipotence, doesn't it? A lot of these arguments from design and teleology, for example, suffer from begging the question. It's rather like the man who is amazed. Look at how all these rivers were made to flow right along the state boundary.
I got a question. From up to now, what you've heard up to now, is there any doubt that God is just a made-up, man-made tale, book of stories, wishful thinking, perhaps? Is there any doubt? Because if there is any doubt, let's let Dan quell those doubts. Go ahead, Dan. Quell them.
How do you explain that? It must have been a massive feat of engineering, a huge economic development. How did they get those rivers to do that? Isn't that incredible? And yet that's how a lot of this teleological thinking is among how did the human eye evolve? How do you explain that? There must have been design behind it. It does look like design, doesn't it? Those rivers look like they were designed to flow right along those boundaries. It's an upside down kind of thinking, and in a sense begs the question. The whole idea that in some of these teleological arguments that complexity requires a designer, and Richard somewhere here pointed out in his book, The Blind Watchmaker, anything that is complex enough to design functional complexity, any deity who could design has to have a mind that is at least as functionally complex as the thing that it designed, right? If your premise is that functional complexity requires a designer, if that's your premise, then the mind of that deity also must, by that premise, require a designer. And you get into this infinite regress of, well, then God needed a bigger God and a bigger God. I think most scientists prefer to just stop with what we do know rather than speculate endlessly about a mountain of turtles. Another lack that takes against the evidence for existence of a God is the lack of agreement among believers. If there is a deity that you love and care about, why do no two believers agree on any social or moral issue? You name it. Gay marriage, doctor-assisted suicide, stem cell research, death, the war, you name these social issues we're struggling with. You find devout, praying, Bible-believing Christians on both sides of those issues. Paul wrote in the Bible, God is not the author of confusion. But can you think of a single book that's caused more confusion than that Bible? They don't agree. Why not? Why shouldn't it be clear? Why shouldn't this all-loving, all-caring deity make it clear to us? It is not. They have fought with each other over these issues. The 30 Years' War, which was based to some degree on the confessional differences over infant baptism and transubstantiation. People were killed. John Calvin had his friend Servetus killed over a simple misplacement of a preposition. The lack of agreement among believers is a serious problem towards the existence of an all-loving, all-caring God. And then, of course, the problem of evil. And our previous speaker pointed out that is probably the Achilles heel in theology. All you have to do is walk into any children's hospital, and you know there's no God, at least no good God. Maybe there's an evil God. Those children are dying at the same random rate, even though their parents are desperately praying, desperately loving those kids, wanting some kind of divine intervention, and yet, as Ann Gaylor says, who's the former president of the Freedom from Religion Foundation, nothing fails like prayer. That would be evidence. If you could give some scientific evidence that prayer actually makes an organic difference, not just makes you feel better, but an actual difference in the real world, that would be something to put on the table. The fact that that's not put on the table shows that prayer is pretty much talking to yourself. Finally, there's no need for a belief in God. Millions, tens of millions of people on this planet live happy lives, productive lives, moral lives, purposeful lives, lives of hope and meaning without deluding ourselves that there are these invisible personalities populating some supernatural realm. We are quite happy, thank you, without that belief. Based on all of that, it is more likely to reject the proposition than to accept it. Thank you.
That was very good, wasn't it? That was very, 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 very good. Thank you to the Oxford Union on YouTube channel, Oxford Union, one word. Okay, my friends in the chat. That's me. Hey, Henry, welcome. You're back. Tom, good to see you again. Anyone new? James Henry. Hey, welcome. I don't think I know your name. I do now. There you go. Donald Rumsfeld is dead. Is that a fact? The problem is, with Rumsfeld being dead and all, that doesn't change history. Not one little bit. You know what Dan said about going into children's hospital where you see young kids dying of cancer, terminal cancer. How do you Christians, how do you theists rationalize that an all-loving God exists? For the theist that's in the hospital, not for the little children who might have been indoctrinated to believe in this all-good, loving God, yet they are terminally ill. Tell me how to explain to me, as a human being, as a humanist, how do I rationalize that? Come into the room. I will present the room, if I can find it. I think I found it. All right, so I'm going to present the room. There we go. All right, so here's the room that you will join when you click the link that's pinned to the top of the chat. And somebody come in and rationalize to me, using the Children's Hospital as an example, rationalize to me how a God, a good, merciful, loving God in human form named Jesus Christ, etc., 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 fits in to the narrative. I invite you to come in right now. Of course, if you don't come in, that's fine. I have something else to present. But child cancer is possibly a good place to start the conversation if the conversation gets going. There are no guarantees, yeah? No, they're not. But the best place to find out if there's, like what's the latest scuttlebutt is right here, right there in the chat room. See, ha ha ha. So, see, James Henry, you said Rumsfeld's death is a good thing. Rumsfeld's death before invading Iraq would have been a good thing. Right now, Rumsfeld's death is just Rumsfeld's death. History cannot be changed, unfortunately. Cryptomeria, going back to video games, are you? Why? Was it child cancer or was it Rumsfeld that put you off the Sydney Winston channel and sent you back to the world of video games, in which you can escape and be someone else and forget about who you are, because most people don't even know who they are. But I digress. Rumsfeld is responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Iraqi people, including children, for an illegal war. Correct, maybe he is, but his being alive yesterday and dead today makes no difference. No, he didn't do it alone. But the thing is, whoever he did it with, George W. Bush or what was that general's name? General Powell, Colin Powell, all those guys. They can be dead tomorrow, whatever. Doesn't make a difference. You know, you go yay or you go whatever. Doesn't make a difference. It's amazing how people, and there are a lot of people who are given the chance to shine on the world stage and then absolutely bomb. Like from the highest position, like, president, for example, president of the United States. If you bomb from that lofty throne, 1,000 years from now, you'll be known, as just think you'll have a headliner 1,000 years from now. Donald Trump, one term, not a clue, or something like that. Dick Cheney, yeah. Okay, let me just see what I had to follow up. Yes. Have any of you, dear viewers, have any of you ever heard of the name Steven Anderson? Anyone? Because there is a what would I call it? Channel. Now there's there is a YouTube channel called Telltale Fireside Chat. And Steven Anderson, I believe, is a vociferous Christian evangelist. Although Telltale Fireside Chat has a different name for him. So I'm just was wondering if, since no one's coming in, and you'd rather watch videos with me than actually come in and chat, that's fine. We'll just carry on watching. I tell you what, here's the agenda. Isn't he the Baptist guy, Steven Anderson? Perhaps. We'll find out in a minute. But here's the agenda. This is going to be the last video to run and review while waiting for someone to, for anyone's, because I want it to be a hearty conversation. If nobody comes in to the room, hear me? This is going to get boring. Okay, if nobody comes into the room by the end of the video, or even if somebody does and we just want to carry on with what my agenda is, which is, I am going to review some CBC news regarding what's happening in Canada with the inexcusable violation of human rights over 150 years by the Catholic Church. Inexcusable violation of children's human rights over a 150-year period. Think of the trauma. Think of the damage. Think of the Catholic Church saying nothing. Crickets. Not taking account, not taking any responsibility for what the Catholic Church has done for its history. And the way that they like go like this to us is by perpetrating the same doctrine that got them into trouble with the residential school system in the first place. So the Catholic Church is an institution that has had its day in the has had its 2,000 years in the fucking limelight, has done nothing but fuck things up, has killed people like Bruno Giordano, and terrorized others like Galileo. Terrorized the man. Fuck the Catholic doctrine. Fuck the Catholic Church. And anyone who supports them should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. How do they show their faces in public? Man, I think if you're a Catholic, you support the worst of mankind, and you believe and you're so arrogant about it that you believe that you are correct in your inhumane dogma. You should be ashamed of yourselves. So with that said, we're gonna switch over here. How about that? Telltale Fires. Yeah, I'll go up here. Telltale. Can you see it? No? Damn. I'm gonna move it a bit. Actually, I won't do it. I'll just change the title thing. Just give me a sec. Okay, no, no, I'll let it run. What am I doing? I'll just let it run. Oh.
Do you guys remember Steven Anderson? It's been a long time since I talked about this guy, like months and months, maybe longer than that. But this is a picture of him up for the people watching the clip on YouTube. Steven Anderson is an extremist in the truest sense of the term. And he is the leader of the NIFB Church, the New Independent Fundamentalist Baptist Church. That's what it means. It's a replacement for the IFB, or Independent Fundamentalist Baptist Church. And this guy is a step past the IFB, which was already extreme, in the sense that he believes in violence. He believes that we should be taking violent action against people to accomplish our goals. I've talked about this before. That's my bar, my moral line. That's where I draw it. I'm okay with you being deplatformed and even imprisoned if you outright say that you want violent action against your political or religious enemies or whatever else. Now, I can hear you saying, free speech warriors, I disagree. People should be able to say anything they want. I'm a free speech absolutist. Wait until you hear some of the things he's said. Let's listen to this first clip. This is kind of bordering on the line of violent rhetoric or not. This is when Steven Anderson was kicked off of YouTube for using violent rhetoric. Let's listen to this clip. This was released on September 10th, 2020.
It's too bad that this message about the love of God is struggling to find its way on YouTube. It's pretty sad when my wife has to call me before the service and say, where's the channel? I can't find it. Because YouTube has been deleting our channel. It's not her fault. YouTube is deleting our channel. Like every week, every day. You know, meanwhile, Insane Clown Posse's channel is doing fine. Okay?
That's because Insane Clown Posse are artists. They're rap artists, and actually they're religious. I don't know if you guys knew that. There's a song that they wrote called Miracles. Oh my god. My ex, when we were teenagers, she was obsessed with Insane Clown Posse, and now I cringe so fucking hard every time I hear the name of that band, because they made that stupid fucking song called Miracles, and it's famous for these lyrics. Fucking magnets, how do they work? And I don't want to talk to a scientist, y'all motherfuckers lying and getting me pissed. That's the famous Insane Clown Posse line that I can't get out of my head. But you know, I digress. Insane Clown Posse is a work of art. Like, they're artists. That's what they do. And some of the art that they put out has been removed from YouTube if it was too over the top. Let's keep listening.
Okay? And think about the vile and the filth and the garbage that's on that kind of stuff. I mean, you think Insane Clown Posse is a little bit of filth, a little bit hateful, a little bit, you know what? But that's okay because it's not Jesus Christ and the Word of God that's being preached. Truth is hate to those who hate the truth. And right now, you know, YouTube has just banned me and just deleting my channels one after the other. You know, it's just I make a new channel, it gets deleted. I keep respawning. Every time I die, I don't have 9 lives. I just keep coming back, keep respawning.
That's because he was banned as a person. The moment he comes back to YouTube, they're just going to ban him again. He's not allowed on there. It's not because he's continuing to use violent rhetoric, which he is. He's not allowed on YouTube. They're going to continue to ban his accounts once they see it appear. I remember when all of this was happening. Again, this video is from September 20th, I think. And I remember when all of this was going down because I was following it pretty closely. Oh, it's September 10th. That's when this video came out. I was following it closely, and he kept creating like 10, 15 channels. He was almost up to 125,000 subscribers when his first one was removed. And he kept creating more and more.
Again and again, they cannot stop us from preaching the Word of God. But anyway, you know...
You guys ready for the violent rhetoric?
Maybe the fact that California is going up in flames right now... maybe God can just go like, and maybe it can hit Mountain View, California, and torch old YouTube's headquarters.
That's violence. That's what he's talking about. That's what he's endorsing. That's what he's hoping for. He wants violence. That is my moral line. That's where I draw it. I do not believe in religious extremists spreading violent rhetoric like that. That is enough for me to say, in good conscience, I want him removed from YouTube. That's my deplatforming line. When he starts talking about violence, that's where I draw it.
Torch old Google's headquarters, right?
That's not even the worst that he's said. He's said things like he wants gay people exactly where they belong, 6 feet under. He said he wants the penalty for being gay to be firing squad. He said a lot of similar things like that. Actually, one of those may have been Tommy McMurtry, not Steven Anderson, who said that. But either way, it's from his church. He runs it, his whole branch. He runs it. He is the leader. He created the ideology, and he oversees the whole thing. So if Tommy McMurtry believes this stuff, it's because he picked it up from Steven Anderson. He picked up the rhetoric from Steven Anderson. Steven Anderson believes this shit too, and he's had his fair share of violent rhetoric. Anyways, let's read this article by Hemant Mehta about the video that we just watched. It's on the Friendly Atheist website. It was written September 11th, 2020, so it's a little bit older. I got Christian hate preacher Steven Anderson banned from YouTube. A few days ago, I posted about how leader of Arizona's new independent fundamentalist Faithful Word Baptist Church had been posting his recent sermons on a variety of smaller YouTube channels, or having his followers post them for him, to get around the ban that YouTube had placed on his own page. How did he get banned? Anderson has celebrated the deaths of murdered LGBT people, called the government to execute homosexuals with a firing squad, spread Holocaust denialism, promoted misogyny, and more. Promoted misogyny does not do it justice. This guy is broken inside. Promoting misogyny is too tame for what this guy has said and done. I cannot oversell this. This is an evil person. His sermons are so outrageously awful that 34 countries won't allow him to step foot within their borders. More recently, he began spreading misinformation about COVID, even urging his congregation and YouTube viewers against taking any eventual vaccine. Remember, this is September 2020, before a vaccine was even out, and he's already warning people against it. In July, his primary method of spreading his message, his YouTube channel, was permanently shut down due to violations of the website's policies. The COVID stuff may have finally tipped the scales. But Anderson responded by saying he'd start new channels without explicitly mentioning his church's name or his name in their descriptions. In other words, you wouldn't be able to find his sermons through a YouTube search, but his followers would know exactly where to go. And that's actually what he ended up doing. Anderson was creating a bunch of different YouTube channels, uploading similar content to each of them, and listing them on his website so that his followers could go there and view it. Eventually, once things fell apart and Hemant Mehta got the guy banned from YouTube, he ended up using Google Drive, I think. He uploaded his videos to Google Drive and then shared them on his church's website, which, you know, whatever. You're still using a Google product, but it's not... You're not sending it out to as big of an audience as YouTube has to offer. So there's that, I guess. There's more to this article, but you get the idea of how this played out. I actually wanted to read the newest article and watch the newest clip from June 21st on the Friendly Atheist website, written by Hemant Mehta, about somebody from Steven Anderson's church. The title is Hate Preacher Celebrates Death of Gay Man at Pride Parade. I hope they all die. These people actually throw a celebration every year when you guys remember the Pulse nightclub thing? Oh god, this cat fucking scared the shit out of me just now. Oh my god. I'm sitting here thinking about this guy and celebrating the death of gay people, and this cat just, you know, all over me all of a sudden. What, you're just walking across me? Are you for real? Well, fine. If you're gonna get down, then get down. Why? Look, there's a big-ass open path behind me on the ground, and this fucking cat just jumps in my lap to walk across my lap. Why? I don't get it. scare the shit out of me on the way past, too. Anyway, as I was saying, you guys remember the Pulse nightclub thing? They celebrate it every year as an anniversary. They celebrate what happened. Those are the type of people that we're dealing with. That's the caliber of person, of extremist that we're dealing with here. So let's give this article a read and see what it says. Jonathan Shelley is the pastor of Steadfast Baptist Church in Hurst, Texas, near Fort Worth. It's one of those new independent fundamental Baptist churches that are offshoots of Steven Anderson's church, and Shelley previously made headlines in 2019 when he said rebellious children should be executed. The name of the article for that one, by the way, is Baptist Preacher Says Rebellious Kids in Public Schools Should Be Stoned to Death. Yesterday, he went even further than that. Rather than talk about theoretical deaths, he flat out celebrated the actual deaths of LGBTQ people, including one person who was accidentally hit by a truck at a pride parade in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and told his congregation he hoped all LGBTQ people were killed. The clip begins after a brief recitation of Romans 1:29, which lists the characteristics of sinful people. Let's watch this clip and see what he had to say.
It's going beyond just saying you do all this wicked stuff. It's saying you enjoy it. You enjoy murder. You enjoy malignity. You enjoy hating God. Look, there's only one group that enjoys that. It's the pride parades going up and down the street. Yeah. And it's great when trucks accidentally go through those, parades. I think only one person died, so hopefully we can hope for more in the future. You say, well, that's mean. Yeah, but the Bible says that they're worthy of death. You say, are you sad when die? No, I think it's great. I hope they all die. I would love it if every would die right now. And you say, well, I don't think that's what you really mean. That's exactly what I mean. I really mean it.
I'm fucking speechless. What do you even say about such monstrous, evil people who would say something so fucking horrific? They are literally, actually hoping and praying for people's deaths. There is something broken in these people's brains. There's something wrong with these people. What's broken in there? What happened? At what point?
I just want to say that I can think of a couple of people that have this brokenness in their brain that preach exactly what this guy's saying. Mr. Batman stands out first and foremost, absolutely 100%, because he's the only one who's actually made a statement. Actually, made a statement. I made a video about it when he said, "God doesn't make gay people. God doesn't create gay people." And then he goes on about, gay people are only about 2% of the population, and 2% of the population get killed. If we kill 2% of the population in the name of Jesus, no one's going to miss 2%. So Mr. Batman is way up there with the hate speech. And then you got your most famous clown who wears the mask of Darth Dawkins these days. Your most famous clown who openly promotes hatred through Christianity. I was going to say wearing the mask of Christianity, but Christianity is evil. So through Christianity. And then you got another joker, a real joker. He's going to, I think I've even threatened, but he's definitely going to be the subject of one of these listen and chat, discuss streams. Because Nephilim Free, I'm talking about. This guy is a nutcase on the level of Steven Anderson. Why don't we let this guy finish? I don't know.
Did they suddenly decide praying for people's deaths is the right thing to do? When did that happen in their lives? At what point? There's something a little bit more concerning to me than just him saying it. You know, it's evil for him to have said that. Absolutely. But there's something called stochastic terrorism. You guys probably heard of this, but in case you haven't, I'll tell you what it is. Stochastic terrorism is the public demonization of a person or a group resulting in the incitement of a violent act, which is statistically probable, but whose specifics cannot be predicted. The lone wolf attack was apparently influenced by the rhetoric of stochastic terrorism. And I'll give you an example. Trump saying all this terrible shit about Hillary Clinton and how she's this evil person, she's terrible, and she's a lizard in human skin and all of this other stuff. Demonizing her, saying she should go to prison. And Trump even said at one point somebody should use their Second Amendment rights or something like that. Just kind of alluding to somebody physically attacking her, right? When that happens, that is inspiring stochastic terrorism. That is encouraging some nutbag out there who's listening to take matters into his own hands. How common is paranoid schizophrenia? Is it 1 in 10,000, 1 in 100,000, 1 in a million, 1 in 10 million? How many people listen to Donald Trump? 70 million people voted for him, right? Or somewhere in that vicinity. So they've at least heard a few things he's had to say. Most likely. Even if schizophrenia, paranoid schizophrenia, was a 1 in a million kind of thing, which it is not. It's a lot more common than that. But even if it was, out of Trump's voting bloc, 70 people would have it and are willing to do something really fucking psychotic if they think that he's implying that he wants them to. That's the idea behind stochastic terrorism. What these guys are doing here, talking about, you know, gay people and the Pulse nightclub thing and the truck and pride events and everything, I would say this goes a little bit beyond stochastic terrorism because they're actually outright praying for and saying that they want these people dead. But stochastic terrorism is not helped by what they're doing here. The possibility that somebody, some crazy fucking lunatic, is going to come in, take matters into their own hands, shoots through the fucking roof when you hear your pastor saying things like this. This isn't even the worst. This is not even the worst shit that I've heard from this group of people, from the NIFB. It gets worse. I'm okay with deplatforming these people because they are encouraging, downright praising violence against a group of people based on some immutable attribute, based on a protected class. They're encouraging violent action against a protected group.
Well, I don't know if I'm. I don't know if I'm okay with deplatforming willy-nilly, as it were. In fact, I don't think I'm okay with deplatforming anyone. Because I don't know, it just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right that YouTube is the only place that you can say something on this planet to everybody on this planet, and you have to kind of watch what you say, not because what you say necessarily is incitement or hate speech, or because of the cultural sensitivity of it all these days. It just doesn't seem right for YouTube to be the only outlet. It's kind of a controlled expression monopoly. So in other words, you want to express yourself on a platform like YouTube, which is the only one available like it, you have to kind of not be yourself. You have to pretend. You have to pretend to get around their wishy-washy, stupid terms of service, and you have to pretend that if children watch your show, they're going to be traumatized. All this kind of shit. You think there would be a nice open platform, like an open source platform, for example, which is just free and not, it's got to, there has to be some parameters, there's a range of issues that you can cover. And sure, the dark side of life that includes imagery that is not suitable for even just over 18 necessarily, because it's so dark. Well, why not have a place for that? I wouldn't go there. It's not my thing. But you gotta have an outlet for everything. You got it. No, I'm just so against censorship. Maybe you should even promote the dark web for literally a place to go if you don't belong on mainstream media. At least then there doesn't have to be. I'm very against this forced underground, like forced criminal activity. It doesn't make sense. I'm a supply and demand kind of guy. Okay, before you say anything though, I am a humanist first and foremost. So, but I'm also a sort of a supply and demand kind of a guy. And if there's a demand and there's a supply, you're all the better for it, and good luck to you. None of my business. It's when the coercion and the disrespect for human rights, the power and control issues. Those bother me. But at least we know they exist, and at least we know we can look out for them. So I believe in an open press, as it were, open platform, which is why I wish that somebody would develop an open source platform rivaling YouTube for us who have things to say and wish to feel free to say it like we want to say it. And I don't speak just for myself, I speak for everybody. Okay, so now I am going to actually have a look at the chat. And while I do that, I'm going to do some enticing. Do you like to be enticed? Oh, I got something to entice you with. Look, I'll show you something. Maybe. So, this here is the chat room. And the chat room is populated by me. So come on in. I understand that there's a delay in what I say and what you hear. So you'll have to give me at least 30 seconds to gauge if there's any interest in anyone joining this little room. The agenda to continue is, it's an A or B. people join in the room and we continue with the conversation. B, no one joins the room, and I continue bringing you the CBC or reviewing CBC News on the Catholic genocide of Native Indian Canadian children through the residential school program run by the Catholic Church and the Government of Canada. You will be shocked. So stand by. And even if people do join the room, we might actually talk about that at some point, depending on... I don't have a lot of knowledge. That's why I'm going to the CBC News, and I'm going to review the latest reports. And now, let's see. What do you guys think? Are there any people in the chat actually watching? Let me see here. I have 6 viewers. Okay. 6 viewers who might hear this and join. All right. Well, that's 6. And let's say 1 out of the 6 joins. Well, that's a long shot, isn't it? Crypto almost got kicked out of CBC tonight. That's not really nice. Who does CBC think they is? Seriously, who does they think they is? Okay, let's see here. All right, so this is the front page of the CBC website. Okay, let's see what we find. Oh, the town that broke the record for the hottest temperature in Canada, like twice in a row over 2 days, actually got burnt down by a wildfire yesterday. Crazy times, people, crazy times. Okay, so I'm looking for... Ooh, see? Tensions flare over Anglican church burnt down on Gitwanak First Nation. Okay, so... Calls for Roman Catholics to boycott Sunday Mass spread beyond Saskatchewan. There seems to be a rising tide of anger against the Catholic Church in this country. And might I say, my dear viewers, rightly so, we need to get angry. Okay, so it doesn't look like CBC is offering a hell of a lot of help. However, we can go to British Columbia and you can see lots of wildfires. It seems to be wildfires seem to be taking the headlines a little bit. But don't you worry, we'll find what I'm looking for. Tell you what, let's go to the Anglican Church and see what threads we can. Near Hazelton, my goodness, I've been there. Near New Hazelton, I actually have been there in Northern Beach School. Yep. So, fires at 2 Anglican churches in BC overnight have been deemed suspicious by RCMP. The churches near New Hazelton and in Tofino, that's on Vancouver Island, where Crypto lives, are the latest of several that have been set on fire in the province. I might be wrong about Tofino, by the way. I actually don't really know where it is. A 108-year-old church in Gitwanguk First Nation land near New Hazelton was completely destroyed on Thursday night, according to RCMP Sergeant Chris Manso. Before I carry on, I just want to put this into perspective. 108-year-old church. Okay, let's say it's 2021. All right, so let's go back 100 years. Okay, so that'll take us to 1921. Now we got to go take 8 years off that. All right, 8 years of 21 leaves us with something like, I don't know, what? Where are we here? 8 years of can somebody help me out with the math? 8 years of 1921. No one can help me? Okay, so let's say it's 1906 or something like that. Now, a lot of the building, a lot of the churches, a lot of the government buildings, and a lot of big, huge, massive projects were actually, a lot of these projects were actually undertaken in that time period, because that was the height of the British Empire, Queen Victoria, the height of the British Empire. I think maybe she had just died, and yeah, it was the height of the British Empire, and India and all. They were just right there. Even the big churches here in Vancouver, if you walk past them and you have a look at the those little slabs that have the information when they were built, all in the between 1900 and 1913, something like that, 1908, 1909. So that's how old all these churches are, and they do represent. Make no mistake, they do represent a time of extreme colonialism. And you know what that also means. Extreme colonialism means extreme arrogance. I'm better than you because we're British. You are nothing. You are nothing. We are British. You are nothing. That kind of thing, right? So, residential schools, obviously, being run by these upper class Brits, had no chance. The children who were sent in there had no chance other than the fate that ultimately consumed them over time. Can you imagine? Imagine the trauma, the mass trauma. I mean, how did the that's the one thing I'd love to hear stories of parents whose children were ripped out of their homes. Where are those stories? How do they explain it? How do they discuss it at family functions? All the 6-7-year-olds are missing. I can't. I just can't even comprehend the depth of this Catholic atrocity. What pisses me off is that people still use Catholic in the name. In their name, like Canadian Catholic. I'm gonna sneeze. I sneezed. Thank you for waiting. Like Canadian Catholic, actually using the word Catholic with pride. Today, in live streams, throwing his weight around. All these Christians seem to be like a Gestapo Gary. Every one of them. I think Gestapo Gary should not be set aside for Darth Dawkins alone, for Gary Milne. No, no, no. Gestapo Gary needs to become a meme name for any of these verbose, bloviating, aggressive, narcissistic Christian cunts. Every one of them could become a okay. Let's get back to that news. I'm sorry, but this Catholic thing has really pissed me right off. The fact that it happened has pissed me right off as well. But the fact that the Catholic Church still has standing in this country, now that big time bothers me. I want to know why. I want to know what the Catholic Church has on the balls of this country that they can hold on to power despite their despicable history of abuse, torture, and even murder. Let's carry on. We were talking about this 108-year-old church in New Hazelton. The same church was damaged in a suspicious fire last week. All right, so the anger is bubbling. Chastity Daniels, former chief of the Gitwanguk First Nation, was driving past the St. Paul's Anglican Church around 10:30 p.m. Pacific time when she spotted the flames. There, looks to me, that's a fairly good shot of flames, right? Look, hey, look, Christians, your church is going to hell. Look at that. What do you think? Hey, Christians, what do you think? Come on, tell us what you think. Look, your church is going to hell. Or maybe the church, inside the fire, is hell. Maybe the hell that you talk about doesn't exist other than in fire. On earth. As in what you can see there. You guys, you Christians are scumbags. Scumbags. And I talk about Christians. I'm talking 2,000 years of Christianity, 2,000 years of scumbaggery. Yeah. Look what's going to happen to you, Christians. Nowhere to run. All right. Anyone who would have done that did wrong, because it wasn't. Okay, hold on a sec. I got to show you this because you won't believe that it's actually written down in print. Okay, listen to this. This is Chastity Daniels, former chief of the Gitwanguk First Nation. All right, so she says, anyone who would have done that did wrong because it wasn't a Catholic church. It was an Anglican church, and there's nothing but good memories in that church for our community, she said. She said members of the Gitwanguk First Nation helped build the church. Right, so Chastity Daniels is saying, you guys burnt down the wrong church, essentially, isn't she? You guys burnt down the wrong church because our church is a good church. There were no, I believe, obviously, maybe, perhaps the Anglican church was not associated with residential schools. I don't know. This is the first that I even heard that there was even an Anglican church in wherever the fuck it is, in Hazelton. But she does say this is not the Catholic Church. So you want to burn down churches? Burn down the churches that cause the problems. I.e., that is, the Catholic Church. Go get them. Go get them. Figuratively, go get them. You know, shame them. Shame the clergy. Shame the people who work there. Shame those disgusting priests. Those high uppity muck bishops. Shame on them. Shame on them. There's no hiding. I'm sorry, there is no hiding. As much as the general public knows about what happened in the Catholic Church throughout history, throughout modern history, certainly, as much as we know, so does the clergy within the Catholic Church. Absolutely, they know. But you know, you gotta sacrifice for the church. The church must not crumble. Oh, fuck that. Church must crumble. Look, the Boy Scouts crumbled. Why shouldn't the fucking Catholic Church crumble? You both have the same problems. You both have the same issues. You both have the same charges against you. What is it with you Catholics? What if the Boy Scouts had a seat in the United Nations? Maybe that wouldn't have worked out. Wouldn't have worked out necessary for the Boy Scouts to go bankrupt, would it now? Just throwing that out there. Listen to this. Oh my God, I'm going to go back here and hide your children when you hear this. Okay, sorry, I'm going to go back and recognize crypto. There's a lot of crypto. Spooky Bed Hair, hi. Well, you're 13, you meant 1913, right? Okay. Mohammed Bra, yep, how you doing? Mike Tuarez, hey, welcome back. So what's the deal with the Catholic Church in Canada? Oh, stay tuned, buddy. Crypto explains they took First Nations kids, put them in church schools, and so far in 3 sites, there are over 1,200 unmarked graves of kids. The Catholic Church is pro-life as long as the children are white. They're racist. Catholic Church is racist. Yes, Mika. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, I'll go back to the newspaper next. You live in Finland, and there hasn't been any news about that? Really? Wow, I better get back there right now before CBC disappears this news article. Hold on. Wow. All right. A church in Tofino was also set ablaze at about 4 a.m. Pacific time on Friday. The fire destroyed part of a wall, but was extinguished before any damage was done. Both fires are under investigation by the RCMP. Manso. Who's Manso? Manso. I have to go find out who Manso is. I always do this. I'm reading, and then I see this name quoted as saying, and I'm thinking, hold on a second, I haven't seen that name before. Let's go find out who Manso is. Oh, Sergeant Manso from the RCMP. Okay. The sergeant said that the fires are of significant concern as the province is currently under extreme wildfire risk. This is indeed true. From the perspective of safety, weather conditions, and potential and unknowable risk, I agree with Sergeant Chris Manso. He goes on. We have wildfires burning around the province. We have an entire town that was lost to a wildfire, he said, referring to Lytton, BC, noting that fires like this could lead to something more widespread. And absolutely he's right, because it's tinder dry. The RCMP are asking anyone with information about the fires to contact their local RCMP detachment. All very well to do that, but we have a bigger issue here about these fires, okay? Perhaps the Anglican church was burnt down because there wasn't a Catholic church around to burn. I don't know. So the anger, the bubbling anger, is not about who burned down the church and we'll get him and we'll bring him to justice. The anger is about, I might have to take a break and see what's happening, and see what's happening with my dog. She's reporting some action, so bear with me, and I'm gonna just switch you back to the chat and take myself off, and I'll be back in one moment. All right. Everything is just peachy keen, just fine. Let me. What happened to my camera? Hey, teacher. What happened to my camera? 'Cause I don't see myself. Alright, hold on. Oh, I guess I have to switch it on. Alright, I'm back. I was back. Right. Now that I'm back, what's going on? Oh, I guess you guys even forgot you were in a chat. That's in a live stream watching me. That's fine. That's good. I'm glad you're having fun in the side chat there. But I'm sorry to do this to you. We're going to go back and finish this article and try and find out what the hell is going on in this country with the Catholic schools. The RCMP asking anyone with information about the fires to contact their local RCMP detachment. So if you know of anyone who's responsible for this heinous crime, just keep it to yourself. Oh no! You know what I forgot? I have to take a sip of coffee before I tell you this. Hello, John Rapp. I've just seen you join. How you doing? We have a problem on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's one that I'd forgotten about. let me read the next sentence before I have a stroke. On Friday, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, remember that name, condemned the wave of vandalism and arson attacks targeting churches across Canada. Fuck you, Justin Trudeau, Mr. Prime Minister. So, but here's the kicker. Justin Trudeau is a Catholic. Yes, a practicing, believing Catholic. So the fact that he condemned the wave of vandalism, he's biased. If he really understood the pain, the anger, the rage of the people who are still affected and traumatized by this heinous genocide, this crime against humanity of United Nations proportions. If he really did have a humanist bone in his body and wasn't petrified, his nervous system has been petrified by the Catholic Church. He doesn't have any emotion. None. Typical Christian. No emotion. So his bias is towards protecting the Catholic Church, and his outward mask is, oh, poor Native Indians, poor they died. But what's with this burning down these churches? This is I don't understand. It is unacceptable and wrong that acts of vandalism and arson are being seen across the country, including against Catholic churches, he said. He even points out Catholic churches. Mr. What are you, Prime Minister? Yes, Mr. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, sir. Catholic churches, the burning of Catholic churches is a community response. And I want to say another thing, Mr. Prime Minister, that the burning of Catholic churches is perhaps the best response out of all the possible responses that angry mobs of people are able to express. Why don't you let the churches burn, Justin? Just let it happen, Justin. Let it go. How dare we elect a Catholic to run a country that is guilty of allowing the Catholic Church to murder, humiliate, denigrate its own population callously. And then now today in 2021 we have a Catholic Prime Minister who puts his Catholicism above humanity simply because, well, it's not simple. He's just indoctrinated that way. He's a Catholic. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. Anyway, I want to carry on here. What's this blazing? That's an Anglican church blazing away. While he recognized the anger that many have felt since several First Nations have reported finding unmarked graves at former residential school sites, he said it's not the solution to the trauma caused by the residential school system. We shouldn't be lashing out at buildings that can provide solace to some of our fellow citizens, Trudeau said. No doubt, with a straight face, because I couldn't. He continues, but we should be every day committing ourselves, each and every one of us, to the hard work that we need to do to actually rebuild a path forward that reflects that terrible intergenerational trauma and present day realities of suffering that we are all collectively responsible for. Thank you to Yvette Brend and Elizabeth Thompson for contributing files to this excellent article. Fucking hell, can you believe this? Justin Trudeau is saying that burning down the churches is not a solution. It's not a solution to the trauma caused by the residential school system. So burning down the churches is not a solution. Obviously, it's not a solution. But it is an expression of rage and of anger and of fuck you. Understandably, right? But does Trudeau actually see that? No. He doesn't see that because he is a Catholic. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. Okay. I'm going to go look for some more. Well, I shouldn't need to look for some more. Aren't you guys satisfied with what's happening in this country? And how basically, it should be an emergency situation. Right now, the government should be sitting in emergency sitting to see what the fuck's going on. Every one of the Catholic Church's books should be archives should be opened to inspection. Fuck the Catholic Church trying to stand in the way. They have no right. They're not above the law. Pisses me off, it really does. Dog, how you doing, buddy? Oh yeah, I remember that. You said you were the victim of Catholic discipline and humiliation. I'm really sorry that you had to go through that, because I didn't, and why not me, right? Okay, so let me go and try the room thing again. Let me show you how poorly how poorly populated the room is. It's just got me in it. So I'm going to assume that nobody wants to talk tonight, which is, okay, no problem. But that also means that 90 minutes after we started, I've kind of lost my fire because nobody came into the room. Oh, sorry. I might have to apologize for everything I've ever said about this room, because in comes a participant. Hello, Crypto. Hello, Crypto. Can anyone hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Do we have audio? Can we have a test? Not how to work. I'll have to rely on the feedback from the YouTube to see if anyone can hear me. doubt you can hear me. She's listening to music. And me. Burning down churches, Dog says, will only enrage and make us worse than their doctrine. I don't know. Well, the thing is, it's not burning down the churches is not. They're not burning them down in order to solve anything, to find a solution to anything. You know, it's burn the churches down, and therefore the anger's gone. They turn around, they go home, and they live happily ever after. That's not what it's about. Burning the churches is kind of an instant response, out of rage. So it's kind of a minor problem, even though it's fire and everything. It's a minor problem. The solution, of course, is truth and reconciliation. If there's no reconciliation, then at least truth. And if you disagree with me, by all means, let me know. Because you say burning down churches will only enrage and make us worse than their doctrine. Well, I'm not the one that's burning the churches down. Crypta, I'm waiting to hear some audio confirmation from you.
Hi.
Ah, all right. So you are connected. Beautiful. Hello. Did you have something to say about the Canadian Catholic organization that is running this country?
They should be gone. They shouldn't be here. I think they serve their purpose in terms they shouldn't get tax breaks. I don't think burning down churches is the answer. I think tax them and recommission the buildings.
But what do we do about the anger of the people that are actually the burning down the churches is a instant response to the anger, of finding all these bodies and stuff.
Yeah, okay, but this went on for decades. All these people are jumping on this bandwagon, and where were they decades ago when I was in university? Trying to figure out the system to fix this. Nobody cared because they're not white. Oh, yeah, they knew there were these bodies there. Nobody cared. And now this year, everyone's like, oh, it's such a tragedy. Mm-hmm. Where the fuck were you? It doesn't matter. It's like, oh, well, they weren't white, so it doesn't matter. Now it's like cute to care. It looks good on your social media to care. But they didn't care. They don't care. Nothing is going to change.
Well, until the Catholic Church.
I will tell you what's going to change. We, as the taxpayers, are going to get blamed for this. The government's going to get blamed for this. The churches won't. The Catholic fucking Church won't. In the Vatican won't. We will pay for it as taxpayers. We will get the brunt of all that hate, even if. Like my family, sorry, I am not on the res, and I'm allowed to roam free. I'm sympathetic to a point, but we give so much to their community. And if $3 trillion is not helping the Indigenous communities, then we do need to sort out between the government and the bands what's fucking up, because that's a lot of money to just sort of
money,
not be benefiting.
I'm sorry, but I just want to say that we're talking about a mass trauma here. We're talking about mass trauma.
And this has been here for decades. It's great.
We got somebody coming in. Hello. We have somebody else joining us. Hello, Mika. Hello, Mika. Hello, Mika. Hello, Mika. Don't get this guy's attention. Mika, welcome. Mika, welcome. Alright, so Script has disappeared, and Mika can't hear me. Well, now. Oh, let's try it again. Sorry for this, but we're playing juggling connection. We certainly can hear your audio, Mika, but we don't know if you can hear us.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Welcome. Can you hear us? This is the problem. I don't think you can hear us. Well, somebody has to keep on talking in order to run the audio test portion of this show for Mika. So somebody has to keep talking in order for him to know if he can hear audio from us or not. Mika, let us know if you can hear us. Mika? So I don't know if the problem is on my side or on the side of Mika. I don't know if anyone can actually hear. Script has disappeared. Oh, okay. I can be heard on the YouTube stream, obviously. What do you guys think of live streams? Aren't they fun? Aren't they like the best things ever? Huh? So they're unpredictable. You know what I like? I like the fact that this stuff is unpredictable to a certain extent. Dog, yeah, please come on in. Just click the button. Drink that Kool-Aid. I mean, click that button. I guess I got it right. Yes. Okay, yes. Okay, must be on his mic. All right, well, Dog, you come on in. Oh, he's gone. Crypto's also gone. So come on in and let's have a conversation. John Rapp, you might be right about that. He may be listening to the delayed YouTube feed, not my server. Okay, here's the deal, everybody. Here's the deal. When you come into this room, when you join this Jitsi Meet room, you must take into account that you have been listening to the audio portion on your YouTube channel. So what you need to do is go to the YouTube channel and mute the audio on that YouTube channel. Once you do that, you're free and clear. You can actually stop the video because it's all this. But I don't know. Dog, you coming in? Come on in, man. Let's just keep this going. Otherwise, I have to shut it down. Every minute of boring deadness is annoying. Also, it could be there's a huge delay in, I see 20 seconds, but it could quite easily be up to 30, 60 seconds. I don't know. I just don't know. And as you can see, nothing's happening. Otherwise, I have to shut it down. Okay. Here's dog. Very cool. What happened to dog? Oh, there it is. No. No. There you go. I can see that you're unmuted. There he is.
I can't hear anything, Sydney.
You
So
can't.
I don't know what's going on.
Oh, you can't hear anything from me. Hold on. Hold on then. I think I know what the problem might be.
I think I'm unmuted. Let me check.
Yeah, you are. You are. I might
I'm
be the problem.
unmuted, so I can't hear anything.
Okay. How about now? Can you hear me now? Okay. Oh, shit. How about now? No. Can you hear me now? Oh, I'm muted. No, I'm not muted. Can you hear me now? So I'm the problem. Indeed a mystery. Let's see if I can fix it. Fix. Alright, so there's no device set up. It's not letting me set up anything. What's going on here? Yes, obviously you failed to access my camera. I didn't allow you. Or how about the microphone?
I can hear you.
You can hear me now?
I can hear you, buddy.
Well, that's about time, eh?
Hi, Doc.
No.
Hi, Crypto. How are you doing?
I'm good.
You're looking a bit flustered today. Your laugh normally is so infectious, it just makes me smile.
Here. See, someone likes it, Sydney.
I think Crips is mad at me.
I don't know, you always seem upbeat. That's good.
Do I have, honestly, do I have video, audio? I just can't tell.
Well, I can hear you, mate.
Oh, all right, all
Hey.
right. I'm assuming
Yeah.
that we have audio, all right. Because I know that the
But we shouldn't
YouTube
be-
can hear me, but if I couldn't understand why you guys couldn't hear me.
I'm sure if I can hear you and Crypto
Yeah.
can hear you, then they can hear us.
No, I know they can hear us because I played it back, but I couldn't hear why you could. I didn't understand why you couldn't hear me. It seems the microphone probably wasn't set up for this.
It was.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm I'm baffled as to
Whatever
why
you-
you couldn't hear me.
Whatever you clicked worked.
Worked. Okay, fair enough.
So,
I'll leave it at that.
well, look at it as a lesson in using whatever software you're using.
Exactly.
If you can't
Ex-
hear them, click that button.
So you're in the UK.
Yes.
Thank you, Soldier of Science. Thank you. I know you can hear me now. Now, I also hear. Oh, Mika says his tech is failing him. That's too bad. Too bad. Stephen Hawley, welcome. I saw your comments under one or two of those videos. Thank you very much. John says that Dee may have cursed me. Oh, Dee wouldn't have a bad thing to say about me, would he? Would he? Would he? Has he ever said a bad thing about me? Surely not. Actually, I live rent-free in Darth Dawkins' head.
Yeah.
Permanent. I'm like a permanent squatter.
Don't mention his name 3 times.
Who's Gary Milne?
Darth Dawkins.
Darth
He will
Dawkins.
turn up.
Darth Dawkins.
Oh,
Darth
that's twice
Dawkins.
now. Oh, that's 3 times.
Yeah.
He's going to turn up somewhere.
He's gonna turn up. Wouldn't it be funny?
He's like Beetlejuice, mate. He's a pain in the arse.
I would
He's
love him to come in here. Well, he would never come in here.
He's a pain. Well, once he arrives in here, mate, you know you have arrived on YouTube. If he ever
No,
gets
I
to see Cindy Winston, he
I
has
would be-
arrived on YouTube.
No, that would be an insult. If I'm the listen, Darth goes absolutely anywhere to find narcissistic supply. If there was nothing else left, nowhere else left to go but my channel for narcissistic supply, then I don't believe that YouTube would even exist at that point.
No,
That's how
no,
much.
no, no.
That's how much he runs away from me.
Once you get past this script and realise what he's doing, he's easily slapped down.
What do you think he really believes then?
I don't know whether it's the money or not. Obviously, his channel is monetized.
Which channel would that be?
Darth Dawkins, Uncut. I don't know.
So you think he's got a YouTube channel that nobody knows about, which is monetized?
Oh, I would think so. I think he has many followers as well.
Well, I don't know of any YouTube channel that he has personally.
But he preaches a script that he applies.
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely, 100%.
And if you wander off that script, he will try and bring you back to it just to try and prove a point.
I know. Yeah, actually, there are quite a number of commentaries on that, and examples of that, where he actually does what the script does, how it works with the script, and then there's also a few commentaries of how to defeat the script, which are obviously the funniest ones, because he just does not have a clue.
Of course
How-
he doesn't.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Just take away the philosophy and he's fucked.
He's fucked. Totally fucked. He's not a very smart man.
Well, that's all religion has to fall back on, is philosophy. They try and muddy the waters from a simple question: is
I
does
know.
God exist, or
I-
does God does not exist? Yes or no?
Yes
As
or
simple as that.
no? Listen, we know that God cannot be that existence cannot be the product of just random chance and quantum chance. We know that that's impossible, so it's obviously God.
No, you can go philosophically into, if God does exist, who created God, and where did they all come from?
The big Baba God created all the underlings.
Yeah, but their beliefs dwell on science fiction,
Absolutely.
other dimensions and things like that. Which
Not even science
which-
fiction, it's more like fantasy fiction.
fantasy fiction, however you want to see it. They're talking other dimensions and this and that, out of time, and what they say. It's all nonsense, to be fair. And to
It
fall
is, yeah.
for it is I feel sorry.
what
I
don't
actually feel
understand.
sorry for the people that fall for it. When they fall for it, there's obviously something going on in their lives that they need an out, unless they're indoctrinated as children. Of
Exactly,
course.
it's either one of those two, and in every single case, it's either one of those two. And
But
again,
it's-
I agree. Soldier of Science actually asks a very valid question. He says, "How much money could Darth make off YouTube?" And the answer is, I don't think he could make any money off YouTube.
There's many channels that make millions a year off YouTube. PewDiePie.
I don't dispute that, but we're talking about Darth Dawkins, the character himself. Does he make money off YouTube?
He makes money somewhere.
I think he doesn't. I think he's makes money by being funded by the government to take care of his elderly mother, whose basement he lives in.
Let's say he will make money eventually. Maybe he's just trying to get himself noticed. And everywhere I go,
By who? The cops? Like, yeah, he's getting noticed. I'm sure by the authorities. I'm sure,
Crypta,
there are people tracking this.
Crypta, or everywhere I go, everyone knows Darth Dawkins.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this is a prologue to his way of taking over the world, like Trump did. But he failed as well.
Exactly. So Darth Dawkins is going to fail in his quest to take over the world. But the thing is, he's an embarrassment. He's going to go down in history as an embarrassment to himself.
Yeah, he's found a formula that works for him, and it's clever. I'm not saying he's a stupid person. I never will do. I think he's a clever person.
How is he clever?
He uses
How's
this
he
formula.
clever? How's he clever?
Because he's worked out this formula in his script that sort of makes him on top all the time.
Isn't
But
that
you need to-
dishonest? Isn't that dishonest? Not clever.
Of course it is. Isn't name me an honest Christian?
I can't. That's an oxymoron.
Exactly. So he uses this script to, I don't know, try and remain. And if you, as I say,
Have you noticed
as
one
I-
thing though, dog, about Darth Dawkins? He will never discuss the Christianity with you. He'll never go to Jesus himself and let's have a talk about Jesus, which is what he's supposed to do.
No, of course he won't. Can I swear on your channel?
As much as you like.
He's a cunt.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Darth Dawkins is a cunt.
Yep.
You're muted. Crypto, you're muted. Okay, good. Let's hear. Darth Dawkins is a cunt.
Oh no, it's probably better I didn't say it.
Why? Darth Dawkins is a
Well,
cunt.
no, he is an absolute cunt. And just
But don't say it.
you knew what I said. You're like, unmute yourself, but not that much.
No, you can say whatever you like about Darth Dawkins, because Darth Dawkins has said that atheists are worse than pedophiles. Darth Dawkins. Fuck him.
It's not
Fuck
like
him. Fuck Darth Dawkins.
wow.
He's a cunt.
Well,
He's a cunt. He's a cunt.
Yeah, big ass cunt. Just like.
This just takes me back to your last stream when I said Christianity is no more than a hate cult.
You were 100% correct. And more it's becoming evident to more and more people every single day. Because these types of Christians that we're seeing on the internet, these very, very toxic, noxious people, all they're doing is helping people like me.
Of course, absolutely. It's not dissimilar to Trump 2024.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, definitely.
We haven't got to the 2022 midterms yet.
Trumpism is a thing.
A thing.
You don't take
Trump
August
is a
seriously.
thing of beauty.
People are really gearing up for this. Like law enforcement here is gearing up because they might go nuts in August. And I know we've discussed it, the states and the whole like Trump taking over in August. We've discussed it, Sydney. I know you don't believe it, but
I know we discussed it.
people are kind of like gearing up for this. Maybe
I don't know so much. I know some people are. I agree.
I'll put $5 on it. I'll put $5 on it.
No. I'm not saying they aren't, but I'm not saying out of 330 million people in the United States, maybe I don't know, maybe 500,000 people.
And who expected January 6th to happen?
I
Woo.
did.
Oh,
What
well,
happened on January
that's
6th?
Great. Then why didn't you notify the FBI?
I'm Canadian. What I give a fuck.
Perfect.
I give a fuck. I don't have problems. I'm going to worry about the problems of the United States government. I'm so sorry. And besides, the United States government doesn't give me a consulting fee, nor have they given me a retainer. So there you go.
Yes, I totally agree. I was totally listening. You could tell I was listening. I like utmost attention.
My microphone appears to be noisy. I'm getting a message. Is my microphone noisy?
No, I don't think so. But it's your show, mate. You should be louder than everyone else.
I absolutely agree. My microphone might be rude and aggressive, but certainly not noisy.
See, the reason Darth Dawkins doesn't talk about certain things is the fire, brimstone, lake of fire, torture hell was introduced in 1611 by King James, and even he has rewritten that Bible umpteen times, and he can't deny the fact that biblical scholars know when Jesus was born, and it wasn't the 25th of December, it was in the summertime.
Do you know that
they shoehorn that birthday in there to coincide with Saturnalia, which was obviously a pagan holiday, but it's money, it's business, that's all it is. It's all about money and duping the gullible, of course.
Of course, which is very easy to do considering that 90% of the people are uneducated and gullible.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
A
maybe
lot
not
of
in
people-
Europe. Maybe
a
not in
lot of
Europe.
people.
Maybe not in Europe.
A lot. No, a lot of people are going through shit, and they need some form of mental retribution, let's say, to say there must be something else.
Why? Why?
But-
It doesn't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense to me that if your life is shit here on this planet, that you don't
That
realize.
you go through shit in the afterlife, so you don't have any kind of thing to look forward to.
No, I wasn't going to say that. I wasn't going to say that. I said
Okay,
if
well-
if life is shit here, then either you improve it or you just live with it being shit. Because once you die, it's going to be over, and that's it. It's done.
Well, people still need that hope.
No, they don't. What's the point of hoping for an afterlife? We're considering that
No.
an afterlife
Because
could
your
be
life is shit and you don't have
exactly
anything else.
Exactly. So why wouldn't an
So you
afterlife
just
be
want to
just
ruin hope, like ruining Santa Claus. Like,
Sydney,
oh,
dog?
oh my.
Sydney, they are looking for a reason why shit happened because they can't explain.
Oh,
it. So-
Murphy's Law.
There's no
Murphy's
reason.
Law.
Yeah, shit happens because shit can happen. That's the reason that shit happens,
Exactly. Well, absolutely. But
right?
there's people who say, "Why is this happening to me? There must be something." and
Therefore,
they-
you just got to educate them that
They
sometimes
seek out
you're in the
religion,
wrong place
that
at the wrong time. Sometimes you're in the right place at the right time. Mostly, you're not one of those people.
yeah.
Simple.
But they look at some sort of power to help them through it. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
They should
because-
get educated
because
in rational and critical thinking first.
this doctrine is instilled in us from an early age.
That's the
in all
problem.
schools and colleges,
That's the problem.
and it needs to be stopped. Now, I say, who wants to live forever? I don't. After 1 billion years of getting up in the morning, in the afterlife, that is, of getting up in the morning and praying. Who wouldn't want to try out hell for
You
a
don't
change?
pray in heaven. Come on.
No,
you do.
that is all you do in heaven. Have
No,
you read? No,
what
you
the-
haven't read
Why would you want to
Never
go?
mind.
Why would you
haven't
want
read
to
it,
go?
Never mind.
Why would you want to go
No,
to
it is part
heaven?
of it.
Seriously, you pray in heaven?
Yeah, yeah. You spend your whole time worshiping
Hold on.
God. That's all you do. That's all you do in
But you
heaven.
do that here on earth.
God
Well,
is the
some people.
God
God is
is
vain.
yeah.
So,
God
so
is the
life is shit.
ultimate narcissist.
Hold on. Exactly. So life is shit on earth. So you worship God so that in the afterlife, life will be better. But all the afterlife is worshiping God.
Yeah, what's the problem?
Absolutely.
I think my head's going to explode. Hold on a minute. I got to give it a little bit of a wiggle. Wow! Really? Who believes this?
Everybody.
I know 1.6 fucking billion people believe this. It's crazy.
Well, not everybody. Theists. People who believe.
There's 1.6 billion of them.
Well, there's more than that if you count Islam and
No, we're talking.
Hinduism,
We're
etc.
specifically. I specifically focus on
Christian.
the Christian ridiculousness. Yeah, the absurdity of the Christian dogma.
So that's
Christian
almost
doctrines.
20% of the planet
Yeah,
believe in this crap.
yeah.
But do you think Ken Hovind believes in the nonsense he portrays, or Ken Ham?
They have a vested financial interest in believing what they claim to
Absolutely.
believe. So
They're
no,
in it for the
I-
money.
I
They don't
it at
believe.
all. Of course not.
They don't
Listen,
believe
listen,
at all.
I
They're
made a
just
point.
lying.
Doug, I made a point that the proof for God not existing is in the actions of the clergy themselves when they go after, when they pray, after they use their positions of authority to pray on little children and impressionable minds and use them for their own depravity, that proves to me that there is no God, because these people are trained in God. God is part of their fiber through their training and through their acceptance of their position. And by them just willy-nilly tossing those virtues aside and being perverted and depraved proves to me that they themselves have never believed in a God or in their God, yet they've been teaching that their God exists to their congregation. And I believe that this is every single one of those clergy I'm referring to, even the ones who haven't been caught yet.
I think some of them do believe. The people who are making money out of it, I think, did believe, but they realised there's money to be made out of God. But the question is of the original faith of Christianity, which is Roman Catholic, and their excuses. Pope Frank is, I said in the chat, is diverting by talking about war in Lebanon at the moment. I'm not addressing the fact that hundreds of bodies have been dug up in Canada. But to be fair, it will be buried again as it was in Ireland, because over 800 child bodies.
Oh yeah. Oh, more.
Oh no, not in Ireland as well. And what happened?
Oh, yeah.
Was the Catholic Church decimated in Ireland?
Over 800? No, not at all. They buried that and They move. They've got the money. They move pedophiles.
We don't care about money.
Planet.
We are people. We are the people.
They move people around. Move pedophiles around the planet to avoid jurisdiction. But they run these so-called. I don't know what you want to call it. We are the Catholics. We'll help. And the wayward girls, disowned girls, orphans. Oh, this is Ireland. There was a film made about it.
The Maggies.
The Magdalene Sisters.
Yeah.
The film.
We were talking about that.
They made a film.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Where these girls were humiliated mentally, physically, and sexually abused by this laundry and on their land. Afterwards, they found over 150 shallow graves of children. But that's not just that. They found, in Ireland alone, they found over 800 bodies of children on Catholic land.
It's the silence of the clergy of the Catholic institution that really angers me.
Yeah, they just have the money to pay a lot of people off, and governments.
So there's absolutely no solution. if money keeps mouths silent, no matter who, no matter how much,
how do
we're
you
fucked.
I was talking to you.
Absolutely.
How do you fight these systems and these people with all these millions of dollars, and you're just this little cog in the system? What
Millions?
I don't know.
Try trillions.
Like you won't even see what I'm up against, so it's an irrelevant conversation.
Yeah, I guess.
Religion is a multi-trillion-dollar industry.
Yes, it is.
I absolutely agree. But the head of religion is the existence of God. Take that away, and you bite the head of the snake.
How do you take that away?
Yeah.
You follow.
And how do you replace hope?
which
I
hasn't been
mean,
written yet.
God is awful. God is like this whole system is awful, but people's lives are so shitty. They need this.
But
so
God
what
is a
are
cunt.
what are you going to do to make people's lives so much better that it won't matter? Because people need this hope.
I'm going to
And-
take away the oppression of the religion that is fucking their lives up. The reason that they have no hope is because religion is oppressing them, suppressing them, oppressing them, is controlling them. That's what I would take that away, and let everybody not have to live in fear of anything. You know, we could all be happier if religion, if God was if it was agreed that God doesn't exist. No gods exist. They're all imaginary. All right.
So,
it's
but
axiomatic.
can I still play make believe?
As much as you like.
Thank you. Okay, then I'm okay with it. Thank
Then
you.
we're good. All right. We should take a vote.
I won't shove it on you. I won't like force you to dress up like a unicorn or anything, but I like my make believe.
How are you gonna
I
force?
need
How are
it.
you gonna force me? Even if you could. Even if you would.
Oh,
Even if you would.
comrade.
Oh,
We have
I
ways.
see. I see. The old have a vodka. Have a vodka and let's see what happens.
See, I had a guy on Twitter, a professor, doctor. He claims it. Well, he's got PhD in his name. And professor, to be fair, who said we'll all be judged at the end. And I'm sorry, but the only person that's going to judge me at the end is me. And
How are
I
you
have
gonna do that? How are you
questions.
gonna judge yourself?
I will ask myself, have I lived a good life? Did I do enough to?
But
You
don't.
know.
You know, if every single day you ask yourself, let's see, did I do one good deed today, for example, and your answer is yes, then every single day you don't have to ask that question at the end of your life. If every day is
I'll always be-
complete, if every day is satisfied, you're satisfied with every day, then at the end of the road, there's no questions.
I know I live on through memories, and also I'm donating my body is it's written down in my will. I'll be donating my body to the medical student chop shop.
You know, I'll
To
tell you a
help them
story about
guys.
that. I'll tell you a story about that. When I was in therapy, I once said to my doctor, I said the same thing. I said, you know what I'd like to do? Be useful. I'd like to be useful on this planet, and I'd like to donate my body, my cadaver, to a medical school for a team of, I don't know, 4 students, however many, work on a cadaver and help science. And he turns around and he says to me, don't bother do that, don't do that, don't bother, And I said, why? He says, there's plenty of cadavers, there's more than enough cadavers, which means that people are dying unclaimed in droves. We don't know the extent of the number of people who live like below the poverty line, kind of below on the fringes of society, and just die every day from whatever, murder, disease, exposure, and they all make it into the morgue system. And there's so many that obviously there's enough for all the medical students. I don't have to donate mine. Isn't that pathetic?
No,
I've
not
heard
at all.
about donating mine. My sister did it. Well, she had a body when she did her training, so Circle of Life.
Yeah, no,
I mean-
absolutely. I agree.
I mean, they'll be dead. I'm not too concerned if they're gonna poke them, do weird things with it.
Listen, even
Well,
though
I'm
I'm
alive.
going to be
Yeah,
dead,
you better hands off.
even though I'm dead, you don't poke me with anything, okay? Just in case I can feel it.
see,
No scalpels. No scalpels.
Yeah, okay. He's a real atheist. I'm okay with everything except
No,
for
I'm
like
just- okay, I'm just
donating
kidding.
my.
I'm just joking. Lol's Junkie, that's my buddy from the army. We used to be in the army together. We both served
Really?
in Iraq. Yep. Come on in. We got
You
some
were in Iraq?
with Lol's Junkie.
yeah, my situation is a lot different.
Sorry, I trolled you, sir.
You haven't thanked me for my service yet.
I think
Oh well, I think that like has to be a personal salute on my knees. Oh, so bad, so bad.
So what's so
I-
bad about life? Tell me, what's so bad about life? I don't see anything wrong.
I'm gonna mute myself now.
Listen, fantasies are good. And
Crypto's
the good thing about the internet
upbeat
is that they have to be kept as
manner
fantasies.
is awesome. I love it.
What is?
But I have to say that I'm in a different situation. I'm 52. I've had a stroke. Half my body works.
Sorry about that.
Whatever. I've had all sorts done to me.
I know, but that's young. That's young, dude.
Exactly, but I had a stroke in New York. To be fair, even though I'm in the UK now.
You were
just
living in New York, or you went to New York to have a
No,
stroke?
no. It's working there. I used to get sent around the world, all over the world for
What
different
is your
jobs.
specialty?
I have a PhD in advertising psychology.
How does that lead to a stroke?
No, that is like super cool. That is like one of the coolest jobs
exactly.
you can
That's,
have.
that's like major
Wow.
major coolness. How do you get a stroke out of that?
Well, I studied media.
I don't know,
Yeah.
stress and just life. To be fair,
Life in New York
It's-
and the stress of life in New
used to-
York.
Well, no, I always like to eat crap and drink a lot. And things like that.
Ah!
I used to go to the
Mazel
gym.
tov.
I used to go to the gym and try to think I was looking after myself, but
No, but
shit happens.
if you're drinking the alcohol and you're shoving down the McDonald's, then your organs aren't being helped at all. The muscles maybe from the gym, but that's it.
Fortunately, it'll take a couple of years, and hopefully I'll get back to 100%, 98, 100%.
Oh,
Where was-
sorry, lols. I didn't notice you were here. Sorry, go ahead.
I've been because of it. I've been put in an induced coma for 3 months,
What?
etc., etc. But I don't propose my life as God save me at all.
Ah, we have another participant.
In? Hello.
Hello! Wow, what a long time it's been.
Oh, hold on. I just got to shut off the YouTube.
Hi,
Hi.
lol.
I'm
Hey.
muting myself. I just wanted to say hi.
What's your name?
Crypta,
Oh, okay. You're the one that's in the chat there. Yes,
Yes.
I've seen you in the chats. Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you.
And who's the dog with the poop hat on?
Yeah, I'm just me. No, I'm nothing special. I just speak my mind, and
Doesn't
whether
even
you,
have a name. That's how special he is. How nothing
it's
special.
dog.
Just a
My name
dog.
It's dog.
The
My
poop.
name is Don.
Don. Nice to meet you. I'm Lol's Junkie, as Sid introduced me as, and also known as Fiction Fighter from the old war days.
Yay!
Yeah,
Yeah.
you caught me at a good time there, Sid.
Excellent, excellent. You still fighting the good fight, fiction fighter?
Oh, you know what? Religious fights. It's that's actually
No, not religious fights. Absolutely not. The fiction of the fiction of the deity fight. The fiction of creationism. That fight.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I don't fight those fights much anymore. unless it's absolutely needed.
Well, there's Darth
Creationism.
Dawkins still around. You got to find.
Creationism is a good fight, but the young Earth creationists, that's an awesome fight.
You know what's?
I'm leaving that up to the youngins. And I got a question, Sid. How come everything's in Arabic?
Where?
Anything that's printed, or like when I came in, it's like everything's in Arabic language. How do you change a language in this thing?
When you join the website itself, choose choose English as the language.
To me too.
Choose English as the language, and then you won't have any problems. I've never seen Arabic. I don't know how that happened. Are you talking about
to me too.
You talking about this Jitsi?
I think you're trying to indoctrinate us into Islam.
Yeah.
Well,
so I'm just trying to figure out where. Okay, do I hit settings on this?
You had to scroll down. You had to scroll down on it.
I'm joking, of course, Sidney.
Well, hold on a second. Don't be joking. You're not joking
I did
necessarily.
this too. You had to scroll down.
Because it is written that Allah is the one true God and Muhammad is his messenger. It is written.
Well, Allah is the Abrahamic God that the Christians believe in, of course.
And Muhammad is his messenger.
No, Muhammad was a pedophile.
Okay, but you guys still didn't.
No, he was not. He was not Catholic. I don't believe that.
He married a 6-year-old.
What is Cryptomania doing up there?
Not quite sure.
I just love a laugh, and I'm watching her dance.
No,
brilliant.
I'm sorry, I was singing, and I don't. If I sing, I'll jinx Sydney's channel. So I mute myself. I have my dance moment. It's Friday night. Sorry, you guys.
It's not Friday night for me. For me, it's Sunday night.
Sunday.
Like. Yeah, it doesn't feel. I don't feel merry and.
I know it does.
You live on the moon.
I live on the moon. It would seem so.
What are you guys smoking tonight?
Saturday morning for me.
Whatever we want.
Sydney lives on another planet if it's Sunday.
Okay, can we back up for a second, because I'm still stuck in the Arabic language here, and I don't know how to read it.
I would say this: exit and come back in and choose English, because it's quite possible
that you might have to scroll down. You might.
Don't bother. You're here.
Okay, you guys,
don't bother. You're here.
Well,
I know.
We can hear you.
Dog.
There's
How
settings
did you?
at the bottom. Listen, there's settings in the bottom.
Yeah.
But the only thing is when I click the little dots, and I can clearly see that there's different settings here, but I don't know which one changes the language, because I can't read the language for the settings.
You can change the language from inside. You have to change the language when you before you click on the meeting. Your language should be in English.
All right. Well, let me exit.
So exit. Exit and return.
Pistol. And then produce my rapier, I said, then to deliver
not muted.
all the money he will take ya.
Okay, you weren't muted, you know that, right?
I was tapping my feet.
I don't think Thin Lizzy will sue me for that one. Actually, Thin Lizzy is releasing a whole bunch of new albums. One of the lead singer had a whole bunch of just stuff in his closet, and one of his workers was like, "You should put this out." So now it's like this huge box set. It's from your era, Sydney.
Who?
Can I just say, Crypto, although you're dancing to me and your laughter is very infectious, don't take up singing.
Don't take up singing?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I'd like to extend my thank yous to the person who invented the mute button. Okay, Lols is back.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And I still have, I'm still stuck in Arabic language.
Well, that's. I don't know. I
What
have no idea.
What are you saying in Arabic, chat?
How can you
I
tell?
can't even see the chat.
Well, if you scroll down to the bottom with your mouse, then it has all the settings of a normal meeting. But when you click on anything, it's all in Arabic.
Well, what are you looking for?
To change the
'Cause
language.
Well, let me see. Maybe
Yeah, but
there's a help.
you're here.
Hold on, look up.
Yes,
help.
I'm here, but I guess it's just a OCD thing. You know, I like to see English.
Yeah, I know. But your name is what you want it to be. It's not in Arabic or anything like that. So
Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah,
there's no issue.
Yeah,
it's just a, you know, a mental thing.
Allah
Anyway,
Akbar,
so
okay?
guys-
If that makes you feel better.
Allah Akbar.
There you go.
Peace be to Muhammad.
Let's make Lars Junkie feel at home, you know, on a new platform. I hope you have your hair covered.
No,
Damn.
I don't. I'm in my own home. Nobody's around. Just me and the dog.
God's watching you. You got the same dog?
Yes, I do. Do you still have your little one?
Yep. I
Yeah?
do. Yep.
I never see him in the video. How old is he now? He must be.
11.
He's 11 already? Wow.
Actually, she's 11.
Marley's gonna be Marley is 13 this year. As of April, or as of Easter.
Wow.
He's an old boy.
How's his health?
Man, he's doing pretty good.
How's your health?
Can't complain. A little bit of back trouble. Oh, I'm recovering from a car crash.
What?
Yeah. Happened last year.
And you
Put
saw
me out of commission since then.
You're what?
I said I'm out of commission since about a year ago.
So you are in constant pain still?
Absolutely, yes.
What got crushed? What damage?
Some bitch went right through a red light. It was my green, and T-boned me, destroyed my car.
Mm-hmm.
Almost destroyed me, but I'm alive in one piece.
What kind of injuries did you sustain?
Concussion. Now I've got post-concussion syndrome and shoulder and my back, my whole back. And yeah, that's about it.
So you haven't worked for a long time?
Since end of last June.
So how come you haven't been online? What's your
Pretty
excuse?
much,
What's
yeah.
your excuse for not being online?
I've been online, just
No?
not the
We
same
haven't seen you.
capacity as I used to be.
We have not seen you. Did you find Jesus while you were recovering from your car crash?
No. That was
While you were actually having your car crash, did Jesus save you from dying?
I don't think so. I don't know of any evidence of that.
Oh, okay.
Were people praying for you?
Oh, I'm sure there were, yeah.
Alrighty then. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, by the way. That's shitty. Shouldn't make fun of you, but it's not nice.
Yeah, it really sucks.
Yeah.
It does. I was
What?
in a car crash a few years ago that broke my spine in 3 places.
Oh, fuck.
Not something you wish on anybody, right? It's not. not
Exactly.
I'm so glad I stay home all the time.
mm,
The
They
worst
are-
worst that can happen is the the foundations of the building would collapse. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, like down in Miami.
Like in Miami, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, according to the X-rays, they were non-flexible brakes.
Mm.
It still fucking hurt though, like a bastard. I couldn't even move my little finger. I couldn't even touch an eyelid. Everything hurt. It's just a horrible.
Mm.
But hope you get well soon.
Yeah, I'm hoping to. There's I've got like a whole legal team and a healthcare team, but because of COVID, that's fucked up too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I've been pretty much suffering. I've been suffering through it mostly on my own, pretty much. But I was able to find a doctor. I got another vehicle on the road, and I've been doing a lot of physio, which is a pain in the ass, a lot of pain, you know, that kind of stuff.
Thank Trump for that.
Huh?
Thank Trump for that.
Say that again.
Thank Trump.
Thank
that.
Trump. I don't thank Trump for anything. I live in Canada. We have someone even better, don't we, Sid?
Yes.
We've got the pretty boy Trudeau that sits on his ass with his finger up there
He does too.
and then pulls it out and sucks on it and says, I think I've done a good job today.
Oh, yeah, useless Catholic.
The good thing about free healthcare, as we have it here, obviously in the UK, and we introduced it to the Commonwealth.
Honey, it's not free. Nothing is fucking free.
Well, no, you pay it through your tax. You pay a certain amount of
Taxes.
your taxes.
Lots of taxes. Yes, lots of taxes.
Is that if it's an emergency, you get seen straight away, and
We don't get what we're paid for. No, anytime I've been to the ER, it's been fucking very low quality care, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's crap.
Yeah, I should have been a fucking doctor as far as I'm concerned.
This is it. I have to give America its due.
Yeah, no.
Because when I had my stroke,
I'm so glad I stayed.
the service I got was brilliant. It was absolutely.
Yeah, it's probably well
excellent.
paid for too, right?
Well,
that's
it was paid
good.
for through my company, so I can imagine people with insurance get that second to none
Yeah, my insurance is covered.
service too. But if I go, in the UK, I don't know if you have it there in Canada. If you've got a minor thing that needs to be looked at and you're referred to the hospital, there's a
Yeah,
waiting list.
I'm hoping to. Oh hell yeah! I've got like
And
a
the
whole
waiting
medical
list
team
here
and a
can be up to
healthcare
over 2
team.
years.
But because of
Absolutely, yeah.
COVID, same here. Same here. Right, Sid?
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
So free healthcare does have its downfalls.
Yeah, it's tiered. You know, you always
Absolutely.
know the rich, the very well off are always well taken care of.
I'm kind of good with it the way it is.
I'm not. I think it needs a whole, you know, all the systems, right from the top down. They all need an overhauling, and we need, as far as I'm concerned, just a little political rant here. It totally needs an overhaul, and we need to be giving incentive to professionals to stay in our fucking country. Give them a